I was doing my regular Tuesday morning radio, telephone news conferences. 8 o'clock, I did Radio Iowa. At that point, nothing was any different. At 9 o'clock, I went to the same radio studio in the U.S. Capitol. We saw on television that a plane had hit the tower, the first plane. Well, we didn't know what was all about. I left the studio. A lady came up behind it that worked at the studio and said, "Senator Grassley, you better be very careful. Something bad happened at the Pentagon." Well, I still didn't know what all this was about. Went to my U.S. Capitol office, not my heart office, and within 2 or 3 minutes, a policeman was knocking on the door and said, "Senator Grassley, you got to get out of here." We went to the lawn on the east front of the Capitol building, and everybody was trying to find out what was happening. So you couldn't use your cell phone. Everybody was tied up the towers, the cells, and so few people had portable radio. So we were finding out about what was happening. 2 or 3 hours later, some of us gathered at my press secretary's home close to Capitol Hill to watch everything on television. And of course, everybody was, I suppose you could say, awestruck, but not in a positive way, that how could this be happening? But we all knew it happened. There was gridlock in the city of Washington. You just can't understand the pulling together of the people of America when this country is attacked. On the way home, there were still long lines. You still might say it's traffic gridlock, but moving very slowly. And everybody had the American flag out. People were bringing water out to people, in a sense, in a parking lot right there on the streets of Northern Virginia. I suppose a couple hundred people gathered on the steps of the Capitol, meaning congressmen and a few senators, singing "God Bless America" and telling the rest of the world that this country was sticking together when we were attacked so grossly on 9/11. For the next 3 or 4 weeks, you remember the speech that George W. Bush gave in downtown New York City where the towers went down. Maybe 3 weeks later, we had a group of us go up to Washington, D.C. to get as close as we could to what you saw on television. I think I want people to remember that America pulls together when we're attacked. And the number one responsibility of the people of the United States through their government is for the federal government to provide for the national defense, the security and the defending of the liberty and freedoms that we enjoy, that not too many people on the face of this earth have the same amount of freedom that 334 million Americans have.